The Culture Code, The Secrets of Highly Successful Groups, is a groundbreaking book by Daniel Coyle, published in 2018. It's an essential reading for anyone interested in understanding how successful groups function, whether those groups are businesses, sports teams, schools, or any type of organization. Daniel Coyle is a New York Times best-selling author who has written several books on talent, performance, and the science of learning. In The Culture Code, he draws on his extensive research and a series of case studies to unpack the principles that drive some of the world's most successful organizations. The book is divided into 3 sections, each focusing on a key aspect of group dynamics. Building safety. The first part of the book explains how successful groups cultivate a sense of belonging and security. Coyle emphasizes the importance of psychological safety, a concept from organizational psychology that suggests people work best when they feel safe enough to take risks, express their thoughts and ideas, and know they won't be punished or criticized. This safety leads to trust, which is fundamental for a group's success. Coyle emphasizes that this sense of psychological safety is crucial for fostering creativity, innovation, and collaboration within a team. Coyle shares a story about Google and its efforts to understand team dynamics better. Google conducted an internal research initiative known as Project Aristotle to determine what factors made some teams more successful than others. They examined various aspects, like team composition, individual personality types, work habits, and so forth, but none of these seemed to be the defining factor. Ultimately, the research concluded that the common thread among successful teams was psychological safety, the belief that one wouldn't be punished or humiliated for speaking up with ideas, questions, concerns, or mistakes. People were more willing to take risks and be vulnerable when they felt safe, leading to better collaboration and performance. Another story that Coyle shares comes from the Upright Citizens Brigade, or UCB, a successful improvisation group. The UCB operates under the principle of yes and, a fundamental concept in improvisational theater where each participant accepts what the other has stated, making up the yes part, and then expands on that line of thinking which is the and part. This practice inherently builds safety as each participant feels heard, validated, and safe to express their creativity. Every contribution is treated as a valuable part of the conversation. A key strategy Coyle offers for building safety is over-communicating that you are listening. This can be done through nonverbal cues like nodding and eye contact, or verbal cues like paraphrasing what someone has said. He also highlights the importance of spotting moments of vulnerability and meeting them with gratitude and support, reinforcing the idea that it's safe to take risks. Coyle argues that leaders should make concerted efforts to foster a sense of belonging and safety in their groups. This leads to higher levels of trust, more open communication, better collaboration, and ultimately, a more successful group. Sharing vulnerability. The second part of the book explores the concept of vulnerability, which involves the willingness to take risks in the presence of others. Coyle argues that vulnerability isn't a weakness, but a strength that builds trust and cooperation within a group. It's about being open to making mistakes and learning from them. Coyle emphasizes that vulnerability, contrary to many people's perceptions, is not a sign of weakness. Instead, it's a critical element in building trust, connection, and collaboration within teams. Being vulnerable involves showing humility, admitting mistakes, and asking for help, which can all be challenging due to fears of appearing incompetent or weak. One of the prime examples Coyle uses to illustrate the power of vulnerability is Navy SEALs. The SEALs have a practice called an after-action review, where after every mission, the team gathers to discuss what went right, what went wrong, and how they can improve. Everyone, regardless of rank, is expected to be completely honest and transparent about their mistakes. This practice demonstrates to every team member that it's okay, and even beneficial, to be vulnerable. It fosters a culture of learning and continuous improvement, reinforcing the importance of shared vulnerability. Another example comes from Pixar Animation Studios. Coyle details a storytelling technique they use called plussing, a method of giving feedback that always builds on what's already there. Instead of criticizing an idea outright, they add to it. This technique allows team members to be vulnerable with their ideas, knowing they'll be met with constructive feedback rather than criticism. For instance, if someone presents an idea, rather than saying, "That doesn't work," someone else might say, "Yes, and what if we also do this?" This principle of sharing vulnerability is not about being weak, but being open to growth and improvement. It is about creating a culture where mistakes are not hidden but seen as opportunities for learning and development. By cultivating this culture, organizations can foster deeper trust and collaboration among team members. To foster a culture of shared vulnerability, leaders can be open about their own mistakes and show that it's okay to be imperfect. By doing this, they set an example for their teams and make it easier for others to do the same. This openness not only helps to build trust but also encourages a growth mindset and continuous learning within the team. Establishing purpose. The third part of the Culture Code is titled Establishing Purpose. This section addresses the concept of having a clear, shared goal or mission that every member of the group understands and strives towards. Shared purpose acts as the guiding star, giving direction to all the activities of the group, and aligns every individual's efforts towards a common goal. The first example Coyle provides is from the San Antonio Spurs, a successful basketball team in the NBA. Their coach, Greg Popovich, is known for his strong emphasis on team culture and purpose. Popovich created a clear sense of purpose and shared identity by repeatedly emphasizing the values of the team, namely continuous learning, mutual respect, and selflessness. These values are not just communicated but are lived and reinforced in every interaction, both on and off the court. Popovich also puts a heavy emphasis on recognizing the team members' efforts, celebrating both the wins and losses, as all contribute to the learning and growth journey. This constant reinforcement of the shared purpose helped the Spurs stay motivated and maintain a high level of performance. The second case study comes from a charter school system called KIPP, or Knowledge is Power program. KIPP schools have achieved considerable success with students from underprivileged backgrounds, which many attribute to the clear, shared purpose the schools foster. At KIPP, every message, meeting, and symbol consistently reinforces the same narrative: work hard. Be nice. This slogan is simple but powerfully communicates the school's values and the expectations from the students. Establishing purpose involves creating, communicating, and consistently reinforcing a shared narrative. This narrative should reflect the core values of the organization and act as a guide for all actions and decisions. It helps in creating a sense of belonging, gives direction, and motivates individuals to put their best foot forward. A leader can establish purpose by clearly articulating the group's mission and values, consistently emphasizing these in communications, and embodying these values in their actions. It's also important to recognize and celebrate when team members act in alignment with these values, reinforcing the shared purpose. By doing so, leaders can help create a strong, cohesive group culture that drives success. In the Culture Code, Coyle provides a mix of storytelling, research, and practical advice. He offers insights into the specific actions and behaviors that leaders can adopt to foster a strong culture in their groups. He suggests that culture isn't something that just happens to a group; instead, it's something that group leaders can actively shape and influence. What's particularly interesting about Coyle's approach is that it is not about imitating the tactics of successful teams or organizations. Rather, it's about understanding the underlying psychological principles that make these groups work so well together, and applying those principles in their own context. Overall, the Culture Code is a highly engaging read, whether you're a first-year student just starting to explore organizational psychology or a seasoned leader looking to foster a more cohesive and effective team.